All right, welcome to today's episode of the Australian Lawn and Garden Podcast. I'm currently in an orchard, surrounded by chickens because I have an important announcement that couldn't wait for me to get back to the warehouse. We have a live event. A live event in 2 weeks. Well, maybe even less by the time this comes out, because we like doing things the proper way, last minute and with not enough notice. But it's an amazing live event. We have Brenton Climb from the Aussie Lawn, Luke Harrison, who is the general manager of MoMaster, and Sean Hoffman, who is the general manager of Easy Flow Fertigation Systems, something that you guys, many of you, would know and love. All three of those guys, plus yours truly, we're going to do a meet and greet with some food for a little while, and then we're going to jump on stage and do a live podcast recorded. I'm going to have some questions, but mostly you will get to ask any questions that you like, if you attend, that is, to these people. Great back and forth, great opportunity to learn, and prizes. There's a Easy Flow worth about $390 and 2 1-litre Brilliants from the Lawn Shed at this event. Tickets are in the description. They're only $22.49. So I don't know what else you can get that is this meaningful and life-giving and purpose-giving and fun for $22.49 other than a Zinger box. So, I mean, that's the only options you've got, really. Zinger box if you can't make it. If you can make it, jump on the link. Now, we're doing the podcast with Ben Sims right now. I'm going to give you a little bit of an intro. We had some technical difficulties, so I'm just going to cut straight into it. But Ben, if you are a long-time listener, you will know he's the first guest we ever had on the podcast. Back for round 2, episode 67. You're going to realise that I regretted that later on. You'll hear why. But this is not a podcast. If you want to hear a lot about Ben's lawn tips, fantastic. He has a channel called Lawn Tips, and there's about 400 videos on there, over 400, of him giving great lawn tips. If you want to hear about Ben as a person, this is probably the podcast for you. It's a bit silly. It's a lot of fun. There's a section here where I laugh so hard. I don't think I've laughed this hard in a podcast before. It's long. It's rambly. Mr. Beast wouldn't be happy with our retention because we're not trying to make it something like that. But I hope you enjoy it. If you're a fan of Ben, you probably will. Let's get into it. When you started, you were kind of the only one in Australia doing lawn tip video styles, right? There might have been a few companies that might have had those 2-minute long little, like, here's how to use our fertilizer, or here's how to use our sea salt bottle or whatever. But we didn't have that in-depth 15, 20, half an hour video kind of thing. But now I almost feel like the market's getting too saturated. And I know that I'm asking you a question I know you're friendly with and friends with a lot of people who are doing this, but what is your honest thought on that? Because do you feel like the wave has been and gone for lawn care, and it's too hard for people to start a YouTube channel these days, or what are your thoughts on all these people starting new ones?
I think it's good, man. The more people that do it, the more popular it gets. You know what I mean? I've noticed in the last 3 years, the more channels that have come out, the more people that get on the bandwagon, and the more YouTube will recommend that type of content as well. Because there wasn't much before. It was such a small niche. It was hard for YouTube to recommend it at all. So it was really hard to get out there. So now that there's more people doing it, it's in its own little target audience. So it's good. I mean, the more people that do it, the better. And I mean, you don't have to... If you start it today and you do good videos and you make good content, good tips and stuff, like, you could be the biggest one out there doing it. Like, it doesn't matter when you start. It's like those tech YouTubers. There's always new ones coming out, and some of them in a year subscribers. So it just depends on how you run things.
Who do you think, and I know it's hard to catch up with everybody, but who do you think's got some good momentum and probably isn't, is somebody for the future, and maybe right now doesn't have the follower numbers, or right now needs a bit of an extra boost, but is putting out some really good stuff?
I think Nick's doing some good stuff. Lawns in Good Nick. And he's consistent, which is a big thing in the YouTube game. Like, if you're very sporadic, you're not going to really get anywhere, unless, like, your content's ridiculous and, like, super well edited and packed full of information and captivates the audience as well. But Nick's doing well. There's not many other guys in Australia I can think of though that are consistently putting videos out week after week. Some guys in
Even
the States, but not here.
Well, even Brenton's not as consistent as he used to be. Brenton, the Aussie Lawn, I'm sure just about everybody listening to us knows him. He's been on, but it's a. I don't think people understand how much time goes into creating content.
Yeah,
right,
ton.
It's a lot of work, you know.
Yeah, well, it's not just the filming too. Like, I would like for me to do a job at home would probably like say if I was mowing the green, that'd take me 30 minutes to give it a double cut. If I'm filming it, like an hour, you know what I mean? It doubles everything. So if you're doing a big project that spans over days, you can double your days. Do you know what I mean? So it's not quite as much because you're not moving the camera as much when you're doing those big jobs, but it really does add hours, and you have to think about it a lot more. Obviously, stop, talk about something, do this. Like you just can't get in the zone. So and then there's the editing after that as well. Like, and there's just all these little things in between, then uploading your video, getting your thumbnail right, stuffing around with like all the metadata. Like it's but I mean, you gotta love it. You know, I mean, if you don't like it, don't do it. That's the thing. You gotta love it. You don't just do it for the money. You don't do it for the benefits that come afterwards. You got to enjoy the whole process too.
Do you feel like sometimes with that, like, do you ever feel like, oh, I've bitten off more than I can chew here? Because I see your property, you know, being there, helped you, you know, over a year ago now, and it's massive. There's a whole paddock you never even show. It's got cows in it now. Well, you have shown it very briefly, but it's, you know, people see probably the golf green and the tiff tuff you've just laid and the shed there. That's probably what, a third of the property size, maybe a quarter.
That'd be probably almost a quarter, to be honest. Yeah, of what I actually show on camera.
Because you got the whole house and everything behind the house, and then you've got like this massive paddock, which was like, I don't know, 4 foot tall grass when I was there. Have the cows done a good job actually?
Yeah, they've kept it down now.
No, that's good. Well, you didn't have cows then, so it makes sense. But do you ever feel like, because your vision is to have 2 greens, right? Is it, if this is still the case? So you want to have a second green over in the second paddock, and then lots of tees onto the same greens, maybe a couple of pins in those greens. So you kind of end up having, in practicality, maybe a 7 or 8 or maybe even 9 holes or 9 tees.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work for one person. That's and I see the amount of effort you put in. Like, you talk about cutting the green takes you half an hour on your own and hours doing it. So do you ever feel like, oh, that vision that I had, I've got to recalibrate that to make it more practical? Because the videoing side, and we all love watching it clearly, it's just too much.
I think this year, like I said, I sort of changed my standards on how I do things. Like I did reevaluate it because it's just too much time doing everything and maintaining it as well and trying to keep it tidy. And I love things tidy, and it frustrates me if it's not tidy, and I don't work well if the paddock's not cut properly or if this isn't done properly. So this year and for future, like I just do things as they come. Like I'm not going to say I'm going to have this project done by this date. Do you know what I mean? I'll just make a start on it and we'll get done when it gets done. And like if I upload a video, instead of doing it on a Saturday, I upload it 3 days later so I can get the full video filmed instead of rushing filming a video. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm taking it as it comes this year. I'm not going as like all guns blazing to get a video done by that Saturday morning. So I might have a project that spans over 3 weeks. So I'll put that in the background and won't try to get it released for the Saturday, which is what I used to do, and just have footage sitting there, and I'll film little videos during the week instead of doing big ones. So, and I want to change more to going back to not only doing the vlog style stuff, but also a lot more tips, very intentional tips that are just, even if they're a couple of minutes long. So I'm not chasing those algorithms this year, I guess. I'm just going to be enjoying how I film, enjoying the process, which I think it's a better way to look at it. Otherwise, because I was getting burnt out in the last couple of months. So yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to this year. It should be good. And I mean, I've lowered my expectations on myself, which has like eased it up a ton. Mm.
You had that weekend. You had a weekend where you didn't release and you put on a Wednesday recently.
Yep.
So it sounds like that's just that thing. I'm not going to rush to get the video done.
Exactly, because I had the video filmed, ready for the Saturday, but I hadn't had it edited. And then Hutchin and Pierce actually turned up, dropped some mails off. We got stuck in conversation for like 4 hours, and then
you haven't got enough. You haven't got enough from them already.
we were there for ages. Which, whatever, like they're dropping me free equipment off, which is awesome. But yeah, I was just like, oh well, I won't be editing this today, and I won't be ready for Saturday morning. So I was like, I'll just edit it Monday, upload on Wednesday. So that's just, I'm not putting the pressure on myself as much this year, which I think the content will probably be more enjoyable for me to film, but also for people to watch, because I'll be a bit more relaxed and it won't be these half-hearted, rushed videos. You know what I mean?
Does it still feel surreal to get just a delivery of just free stuff?
Yeah,
you're like,
100%.
what the heck?
I don't think you ever get used to it. Yeah, it's weird.
Because I had this happen yesterday, because I reached out to a bunch of brands, because we're doing this. I've told you about this. I've told this on the podcast, but I'm doing this series of basically everything you need to know about blank plants. Usually, right? Articles that I've written, I'm making into YouTube videos, and I said to these brands, I was like, hey, I need tools to demonstrate some of this stuff. If you want to send something, send me something. So I reached out to Ego and a few others. Greenworks has sent me some stuff. AEG is going to send me some stuff. And Ego were like, yeah. And they didn't tell me they'd send me anything. They were just like, oh, yeah, cool, no worries. As in, they said they were keen to be involved. And anyway, I get a knock at the warehouse door yesterday. I'm like, well, that's weird, because like this is like just a bunch of units in the middle of nowhere. No one comes here. And open up the door, and the guy's got a delivery for me. And it's an Ego chainsaw. And I'm like, this is so strange. Like I've only had, I don't know, that's the fourth thing I've ever had sent to me for free. Fifth thing or something like that in a year, right? Of doing this, or close to a year of doing it. And anyways, on a side note, that thing is scary. I'm going to put a video up.
Pretty impressive.
Man, like it's terrifying, because I cut just a standard piece of wood with it, because you can't get a chainsaw and just like let it sit. I got to cut something. I didn't have any trees to cut. And the thing is that, like, because my kids were in the warehouse at the time, and it is silent, and I'm used to having like this petrol thing running, and it's like danger. So I put this thing in the vise. I'll put a video up later. Well, actually earlier, because people who are listening to this won't probably get it for a week and a bit. But I cut through this piece of timber, and I was like, my goodness, like this is a deadly thing, and there's no warning signs. Like it just like a drill. You just pull the trigger, or you got to have a little safety latch, and it's like, damn, that thing it cuts fast. Anyways, but it's weird getting. I know there's value in it for the brand, because we get so many people watching the articles and all that sort of stuff, or reading the articles. But it's still anyways, weird feeling. What did you get the other day?
Yeah. What did I get the other day? Sounds bad, doesn't it? Get so much stuff, can't even remember what it was. It was just they replaced my lawn tractor, so they update them every 12 months or so. So they just swapped it out and dropped a few bibs and bobs off, like blades and stuff like that. So everything is just working well.
Nice. Well, that's the John Deere one.
Yes, but I can't. What's the model? X380, I think it is.
You told me before, I think in the last podcast, that they get insane sales. Like, you're surprised at the sales they get from the equipment that you put up. You put up a YouTube video, and all of a sudden, bam, everyone's buying it. Which is kind of weird, because you don't do an ad for them. You know what I mean? You're not like, it's not like it's never a forced shove it down your throat style ad, and yet they're still getting crazy sales.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like recently, because I haven't. I use stuff all the time still, but yeah, I haven't checked in and seen. But it's crazy how that works. I guess that's just you use something and people jump on board with it, which is pretty crazy. But I do the same. Like, I'll watch YouTubers and then I'll buy something a day later. I
Yeah,
do it all the time.
all the time.
Gets you.
Yeah, and I feel like this is with I'm a lot more suspicious of certain people, but the ones who have been just honest and I used this and I thought it was good. I think Tim the Lawnmower Man's good at that. Just using something and just you're like, oh, that's like he did a Ryobi Edger thing a couple of weeks ago, or maybe not even like a week ago. I don't know if you saw it on the Turf and Tools page he does, but it was just like a stick edger with a hard blade, and that's the type of tool that I use in terms of stick edges, and I was like, you know what? If I was a homeowner, I'm sold. You know, like
they're so good.
I just get that.
Ones. Mm. Yeah.
Anyways,
super simple.
Has it been anything that you've or what's the biggest thing you've turned down though? Because you don't take everything, and I think that's where the authenticity comes in. What's the biggest thing? I don't want to make you awkward or have to turn anybody against you by being honest, but is there something out there that people, you know what I mean, like, oh, this brand, I rejected them and they're wankers or whatever. But like, what's the biggest thing that you've turned down? All right, I interrupt the podcast to tell you that you didn't book the tickets to a live event, did you? I understand why. It's because you were busy doing this. Now, did I tell you that there's very limited spots and it's actually being held? Oh, shut up, chicken. What are you doing? Yeah, thank you. Now, did I tell you that's actually being... Shut up. Bloody chickens. Don't worry, that chicken's now gone. You'll never hear it again. Anyways, shut up. All right, we're back. The podcast, the live event, is actually being held at the warehouse where we host this podcast. I can't win with these chickens. Anyways, I'm giving up. The podcast is being held at the warehouse. The live event is being held at the warehouse. And... like I said, meet and greet, all sorts of stuff, $22.50. Jump on the link. Also, I've been saying this for many, 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 many months. Barricade is an underrated herbicide, very safe. It's not even registered on as a scheduled chemical in the same way that you would get a glyphosate or a bow and arrow or something like that. Very safe chemical, and it lasts in the soil for 6 months. And helps you prevent most weeds that grow by seed. Now, the reason why I say this is that the number one time to apply this product that I have been raving about for a long, long, long time is in March, in my opinion. Slightly different depending where you go around the country. Maybe late February, right now, would be a great spot. Sometimes some of you can get away with it in April, but in my opinion, March is the best time to apply. We're coming into that right now. And so if you've been wanting to get some of that, you've thought about it when you've heard it on the podcast, jump on the lawn shed right now, buy a bottle, and then you can apply it in lawns and gardens, and it makes your life as a professional gardener, if that's what you do, like what I do, it makes your life so much easier. You'll thank me for giving you this advice. Jump on that now, and I will see you back in the podcast.
There's not really anything huge I've turned down. It's mostly like advertisements on the channel. You know what I mean? Something that's doesn't relate to lawn care. Like I could get offered $6,000 to do an ad with NordVPN. You know what I mean? I just have to do a 30-second clip. Like they pay a lot of money, but it just doesn't correlate to what I'm doing. If something came up maybe one day that's going to work and I believe in the product, then yeah, I'd be happy to do it. It doesn't worry me, but there's just ones in there like, who's going to be looking for VPNs on a lawn channel? Like, it's just, or like Raid Shadow
Who's looking for VPNs on any channel?
Exactly. Although, when I used to watch Casey Neistat, I got a VPN because of him. Only because I got hacked and I got like $3,000 stolen from my PayPal.
Wow, really? I've been taking my passwords more seriously now. But I still don't have a VPN.
I only use it when I'm doing illegal stuff. No, I don't do illegal stuff.
I'm with you. I only do it when I'm selling children, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A couple of kidneys and stuff.
When I'm human trafficking, that's when I use my VPN.
Whoa,
but all the other stuff. Oh man. Yeah. Anyways, I probably should get one. Anyways, down to our sponsor.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN.
Definitely not. I have joked about them before. And they're getting. We're talking about it. But that's that spammy style. So it's only that stuff. I was actually going to joke before. I was like, what's the biggest offer you've turned down from a gardening business? And just let me know them because I'll hit them up.
It's probably you, bro.
Well, here's an interesting thing. We talked about this off air a while ago, right? Being paid and paying for going on podcasts or people's YouTube channels for exposure. Because I think you pulled me a little bit towards your view, which was not like a hard view you had, but I was like really against it because I don't pay anybody to come on here, and I've never been paid for. I can't remember which way. Either way, like if someone's like, if a brand was like, "Oh, we'd love to come on, we'll pay you money," I'd be like, either. It feels too forced to me. I just prefer to have a normal conversation. And if you wanted to put money into it, it's like, okay, let's say they wanted to pay me $500 or whatever, $1,000, $10,000. I'd be like, I almost prefer to be like, just why don't we just do a price? You know what I mean? Like let's give something to the audience, because I feel like for me as a podcaster, the number one thing for me is just people being able to trust you and trust what you're saying. And if you know that people are paying to come on, I don't know. I feel that way. So there's that side of it.
You mean people are paying you to come on, or you're paying people to come on? What side are you talking from?
People paying me to come on. If
okay.
someone was like, I'm not interested, if, say, let's use Brenton. If like I didn't like Brenton's videos from the Aussie Lawn, and he was like, "Oh, I'd love to come on the podcast." I don't know why he would pay, but anyways, that was a bad example in one sense. But I wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah, give me $2,000 and I'll have you on." That's just you on. That's not right.
No, well, that's not what I meant when we were having that conversation. It was the other way around. It was a flip side.
So me paying you to come on, or me paying Brenton to come on, I give you $1,000.
Not that I want money for that sort of stuff, but it's like if you're trying to get a big profile name, like someone that's quite famous or something, and you want them on, because for guys like that, they obviously get those offers all the time. So time is money, and time is valuable to them. You know what I mean? So it's like a payment to go on to take 2 hours out of the day, but then they've got to prep beforehand and blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of time that goes into that sort of stuff. So it was more that side, not people paying you. But if you were trying to get big guests from overseas or something, or some famous person, I don't know, that's like, that's where I was coming at from that, not saying people should be paying you to get on there.
Yeah, no, I can see that argument. I feel like even with you, like that first episode we did, I'm very grateful for that, because whilst there were a lot of people who knew of me in the contractor scene, because I'd been, posting so much on pages and trying to help people out and going on other podcasts and things like that, your kind of network didn't really know about it. And, putting that episode out as the first episode was super helpful. Yeah, so I understand that. Do you think, what do you think about, because I also look at, you seem to be the only guy financially. And I know I don't even know who's still listening to this now sometimes, because like this is just us being us, which, I think hopefully a lot of people find it interesting. But when you talk about money and you talk about YouTube, there's hardly any people in gardening who are making full-time money off content. You're real rare beasts in that. And what do you think it is? Because there's like tech YouTubers or whatever that can make it work. Anyway, it's just something I've thought about, because one of the things when we talked about with Nick, when Nick came on last time, is people don't understand how much work goes into it. And when somebody gets a sponsorship thing on Instagram, people will be like frustrated that they've got a sponsorship. And it's like, mate, like, do you understand how much work went into building that for how long? Like, why like I'm all for celebrating that success because I know that it's so hard to actually monetize content like that. And you seem to be the only person who's really cracked it full time. And I don't know, maybe self-sufficient me. I don't know if you ever watch him.
Yeah, I've seen him before. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, like I don't know. Is there any other Australian on YouTube who's making that much that they don't have to
there
work
would be.
anymore?
Maybe not in the garden space, but there would be.
Oh, I mean in the garden space. I mean specifically, it's
Mm.
very hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do it from YouTube views. That's not how I'm a full-time YouTuber. You know what I mean? It's because I got a business that sells product. That's where I make the money. You know what I mean? YouTube money's you couldn't live off it. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you take a break. I took a break like last month. Like I made what was it like $900 that month from YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars for getting what I'd probably get 500,000 views a month, maybe a little bit less. Think about, and I probably get a couple of grand from that. Whereas if you're looking at someone that gets millions and millions of views, they're looking at getting 20, 30, 40 grand a month just from YouTube views. So mine's all my business, I'm supported by what I sell online with the fertilizers and all that. So I wouldn't call myself, I'm a full-time YouTuber, but YouTube isn't my income, if that makes sense.
True. What do you think about the Mr. Beastification of YouTube, if you know what I'm talking about?
Like the quick editing.
Yeah, because your pace, what I like about when I watch your videos on a Saturday morning is, and I think it's perfect, and Brenton's as well. When Brenton used to upload, I used to watch them both straight away, one after another. And Saturday morning, I want to relax, I want to chill, I like learning stuff, I like seeing what you're doing, I love the industry. Chuck on slower paced, still informational, a little bit funny. There you go. But those videos don't attract algorithm boosts in the same way that what Mr. Beast does. And I watch Mr. Beast stuff, every now and then, and his videos are entertaining, but I feel almost done after one video. It's like it's too much.
Where's yet? Yeah.
Have you been tempted to go down that?
No, that's entertainment. So that's a completely different genre. You know what I mean? So if I was to do that with lawn care, it wouldn't be giving people tips. It'd be entertaining them. So it'd be like, doing stupid stuff like digging holes in the green and doing like over the top, really clickbaity stuff. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be. I'd have to be entertaining people. I wouldn't be teaching you how to look after your grass. So it's a completely different like niche altogether. So tech YouTube is its own niche. Then you got obviously your entertainment, which is your biggest, and that's going to get you the most views. Your how-tos are down the bottom of the tier. Do you know what I mean? Like gardening's a little bit higher, like when it comes to like self-sufficient me, because there's more people into gardening, but there's not as many people into their grass. Like people old blokes love mowing their lawn and stuff, but getting like really specific about it and fertilizer programs and using plant growth regulators and stuff, it's a very, very small target audience.
So what have you changed your mind on the most since starting YouTube, about YouTube? Or maybe even what have you changed your mind on in the last year or so, last couple of years?
Probably it's not all about the numbers or the views, to be honest. Like I used to get stuck on my phone, like I'm seriously like probably 150 times a day, looking at how many subscribers I had, how many views I had. Every time I picked my phone up, I'd look at it. You know what I mean? It consumed me like crazy for the first couple of years, and used to try to all these different video titles, change my thumbnails, think about it for in the middle of the night, all the time. And I think the last probably even only the 6 months, I don't look at my views anymore. I don't even look at it. Like I look at it for the first hour afterwards, and then like I don't know what the weekend's video's at. I don't look at my subscribers anymore. I just do it for the joy of doing it, for shooting the videos and helping people out, I guess, is the biggest thing. Because I think that's probably the biggest thing that's changed in the last 6 to 12 months for me personally. I think it's been awesome because I don't get stuck in chasing algorithms and doing things. And if anything, like I feel like the channel's going better. It's in a different place, but yeah, that's been my difference.
Do you think you still will hire someone eventually?
Like on the property.
Yeah. You talked about
Yeah,
Josh.
100%.
You said in the past, I don't know if it was private or on the podcast, but Josh, your twin brother, for those who don't know, we've also done an episode with Josh. Also, Josh is a former superintendent, as knowledgeable as they get with lawn, and you were like, I would love to hire him and have him, help around. But then there's a reality of like to pay, especially, like you guys aren't young anymore. We're not old, but you got kids, family, mortgages. To pay a realistic wage that someone has to live off, it's not easy, and I know that from business. So,
Not cheap. You're looking at insurance as well, and you're looking at super, and you're like, it gets expensive. Like, you're probably going to pay them double. Like, it'll cost you double the amount of what you're actually paying them behind the scenes. So, yeah, I'm still going to do it, and that's a goal. And I think, I think YouTube, I'm still going to obviously keep pushing YouTube. I'm just not connected to the numbers, if that makes sense. I'm not slowing down anytime soon. If anything, I'll be ramping up a little bit more this year and getting more projects going, but obviously I need the money to do that as well. But I think my goal is in the next 2 years to have someone employed. That's my goal.
Yeah.
But I'm just not consumed by it anymore. Like, it's not something that I think about nearly every single hour of the day.
Well, I've got a good idea of how you can get more money. What you need to do is sue those people who are using your videos for their products without permission the other day.
Oh, I found some more. That. Someone else sent me a link yesterday too of a different video.
So tell the story for people who don't know.
What was it? Someone was selling was it a liquid product or seed in a bottle or something that basically said revitalize your lawn in 15 days or something like that. And it had clips of my before and afters with my lawns.
and you with bottles in your hand. But I think it was like I think it was like a Celeprint or something. Like it looked like
I had Color Guard in my hand from Lawn Solutions. So it was like a pigment. I had a pigment in my hand, which looked like the exact same bottle. They've used it as marketing for them. Anyway, that's so bad. Like saying that those results, it showed me when I'd scout my lawn and when it came back after scalping and it was saying that product had done that. I was like, man, that is sketch.
Plus using you as in, I mean, if I was them, I understand what they're doing in terms of like they're trying to get a recognizable name, like a face. But then again, you got so many followers. People were tagging you in the post. I got a message, like someone the guy that tagged Dan Klink. We actually talked to him about him in the last podcast that we did because he's the guy with the 30. Yeah, he's got a 36-inch MoMaster, and we're talking about that anyway. So he saw it and then he sent it to the group chat. Oh no, someone else did actually. Anyways, the whole thing. He was in the group chat. Guy named Richard sent it to me. So there you go, Richard. There's your shout out. But yeah, like all these people will see it and tag you because everybody knows who you are, and it just looks dodgy.
Well, it is dodgy.
But anyways, is there any realistic repercussions? Or are you just going to give them a stern look?
Oh, I just left a comment on there. Honestly, man, whatever. Like, I mean, hopefully no one gets scammed by that, but there's nothing. What can you do? Like, there's not much you can do. You can report it to Facebook. It's false advertising, but that's about it.
Maybe you should steal from their playbook and start running Facebook ads for your products. You know what you should do? You should just literally take their ad, right, and just cut out all the bits. They've already done the editing for you. Just take the scammer's ad,
the product name,
exactly, and then link it to your website and put it out there.
Yes,
it's got. If they're making money from it, go for it.
That's a great idea.
He's writing it down now.
I am. That's what I'm doing right now. Can you hear the keyboard going?
I heard you click. I'm a bit of a businessman. It's a bit weird sometimes. Like
I was going to say weirdo, which I was going to agree with, but no.
I definitely am. No, I'm a weirdo, but it's kind of I can't turn it off. Do you know what I mean? Like not in the same way that sometimes you can't turn your phone off. But I'm just always creative thinking about ideas. And whenever I'm doing anything, like I'm at a restaurant or something, I'll be like, do you know what? They should do this. And I reckon they'd get more sales. Their marketing's a bit off. Like they could talk about that. Anyways, it's like when you go to a park, you'll know this a million times over, and the lawn's not quite right.
Yep.
And you start thinking about what you would do.
If only they did this, you start assessing it. Guess it's like builders when they go past houses that have been built and they're like, bro, you did that job, that's ridiculous. They should be doing this, yeah.
What products then? So talking about the scam stuff. So what products are in the grey area between outright scam and good, helpful product?
What, that I sell?
No. That are out there. So here's something. I'll give you something that comes to mind. It's not a scam, right, at all. But bifenthrin, which is a effective insecticide. You go to Bunnings, and there's certain companies that will sell exactly the same product, exactly the same bifenthrin product, but label it as either ant killer or bug killer or slader killer or whatever it is. And they're slightly different prices, right? Instead of just going
marketing.
It is marketing, but it's not a scam because it works.
No.
But it's also kind of misleading because you could just put on the bottle, this is a general all-purpose and it will kill all these. And some people do that.
I think, though, between the difference with the termite one and the ant one, they put hydrocarbons in the the termite one, which does increase the cost.
Yeah, well, so, I'm talking about, I've bought these containers.
Yeah, okay.
And I've opened them up, and they're exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same product, yeah.
And the label is saying it's exactly the same application rate, all that sort of stuff.
Same like company too, same brand.
Yeah, same brand.
Yeah, right.
They've just got different stickers and different size packaging.
So much effort. It obviously works for them.
It does, but that's what I mean. It's like it's not a scam. Do you know what I mean? But I wonder if people, do you know what? This is where it would be a scam. If someone, say, bought the Slater Killer and then they had armyworm and they already had the Slater Killer in their shed and they see the armyworm like, oh, I've got to go buy something to kill that. And they go buy a second batch of exactly the same thing in different packaging.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, you could double up on something which is unnecessary. Yep.
You could have used what you already had. But there's a few things like that in the gardening world that, you know, they're not scams, outright scams, but they're kind of not, they're overhyped, not as effective, watered down, stuff like that. Anything else coming to mind? Or do you not want to get sued, you know?
does not worry me, man. I mean, weed and feeds are a little bit of a funny grey area just because the herbicide in them are so watered down, and you're technically, the feed that you're adding to it is going to be pushing the weed to grow more. So they don't work as well as like a concentrated herbicide, I guess. But I mean, it's not really a grey area. It's just a watered down product because it's on the shelf in Bunnings.
Yeah.
There's not much. I don't know. I can't really think of anything, to be honest. There isn't really too much in lawn care that's sketchy apart from stuff like when you get Sol Kaiku seed and most of it's ryegrass.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. And that's a pain to get out as well.
It is. Normally, luckily, it's annual ryegrass, so most of it will die out within 12 to 24 months. But it's still painful. You need to look at something like Lonro to get it out.
Yep. I feel like another thing that's a bit of a scam is fertilizer that is, it's not always the case, but there's fertilizers that are specified for certain plant types, right? And the reality is that the difference between them, so say you might have like a rose fertilizer, an azalea fertilizer, a citrus fertilizer, or whatever. Now, some of these do need higher levels of certain, maybe phosphorus or potassium, or whatever
and
it is.
phosphorus. Yeah.
But I've been writing these articles, and obviously we're sponsored by the Lawn Shed. And so some of these articles, I've just been like, do you know what? If I've got these products and say for like an indoor plant, I'm happy to use like a lawn fertilizer on an indoor plant, like a liquid fertilizer, or say like you've got, any of your products. This is the other thing that's in that sort of uncanny valley of like, it's not quite, but it is not quite. They're marketing it so that the uneducated person will go, I've got a citrus tree, I want to put something down, I'll buy it. It works. It works for citrus. It's not a scam. But you could have probably used maybe the rose fertilizer you've already got. You could have used probably the stuff you've already got, and you'll find out that people have this shelf with 7 different types of fertilizer, and it's not very common. But it's like, it's kind of all the same thing. It's the same nitrogen source. It's the same this from the same brand. They've just tweaked the macros slightly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's common. I mean, it's the same with lawn stuff. Like if you go to Bunnings, you see there's buffalo, like fertilizer for buffalo.
Yep.
Like it's super common. And the thing is, as you say, it's for the people that are uneducated, so they just don't know what they're looking for. Whereas if you look at just a garden fertilizer, people can be put off by that because they start asking the question, is it going to be all right for this plant? Is it going to be all right for that? And they end up not buying it because they're just unaware. They don't want to do the research. So if you have something sitting there that just says, use for this, people just will buy it. Like it's just no thought process behind it. So that's the same with lawns. Like I get emails probably once a week saying, I've got this buffalo fertilizer. Can I use it on my kaiku? I'm like, yes, you can. But it's just because the marketing's pushed so hard because buffalo was so popular 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's just that because you can't use dicamba on buffalo. And so it was all the weed and feed products. And I wonder if people then started assuming, it's not just weed and feed. That's got to be buffalo, or reed spray has got to be buffalo safe.
I think it's just because buffalo took over for quite a long time. Like buffalo became the most popular bit of grass out there that was being sold at turf farms. So that's why obviously Bunnings and Yates and all that and Munns, which I think are the same thing anyway, all realised that and they they realised that, so they started targeting that to get more sales.
So, honest question, why do you have such a hatred for buffalo? What's this deep-seated
joke, bro? It's 100% a joke. I love stirring people up. No, I don't mind buffalo. I don't like, it's not my personal preference. It's because it's got such a thick blade. Kaiku's not my personal preference. Like, and I've got kaiku at the front. I shoot videos on it, but yeah, it's just an ongoing joke. I don't mind buffalo at all.
No, I actually really like buffalo for, I reckon in WA, I was talking to Brenton on the phone about this, right? In WA, I would say buffalo is the lawn for, I would say, 70% of people's expectations. It best suits that. If you've got dogs, probably not, right?
Yeah.
If you've got a lie on your lawn a lot and you want it shorter, definitely not. It's a bit prickly. It's nice when it's cut long, it's nice and soft and comfy. Other than that, it's slower growing, so you don't have to mow so much, and it's forgiving if you over fertilize it, which a lot of homeowners do, right? Like you over fertilize cooch and kikuyu and you've got regrets. So I really like it in that scenario, but I do find a lot of sports turf guys like yourself come from golf course, properly trained. The bigger leaf stuff, I don't know. Maybe you got used to cutting sub 10 millimeter and all that.
Yeah, exactly. You get used to fine turf and you love the look of that fine turf because it looks tidy. You know what I mean? There's no like stragglers out sitting up. Like it's almost like an OCD thing. You know what I mean? Like whereas buffalo, you can cut it short and it has all these things still pinging out left and right, and then just looks like a bunch of pubes.
Yeah, and you gotta have, like, in my opinion, if you're a homeowner, you gotta have a rotary and a cylinder mower for buff.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
And a metal rake,
Yeah.
so that, and obviously if you have a lot of area, you probably need a groomer,
Yes.
but those little furry bits, that those runners that go across surface and look ugly, if you just go over it with a rake lightly, pick them,
Yeah.
clean them up. Rotary will pick them up, do that once every couple of months, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Exactly.
so there's problems with every lawn. You're getting some zoysia soon, right?
Yeah, probably not till spring now because I've left a little bit late getting all the weeds out, and I don't want to lay it too late in the season because it's going to need a long time to establish here because it's a little bit cooler. Like we had some temps this morning. We were down below 10 degrees. And our day temps were only at
In
23.
February.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We'll go warm again for a bit, but we're so up and down in Orange. So you got to be careful laying something like zoysia around here. You got to pick the right window. What do we
I
at?
gotta find you. I gotta find
11
you my
degrees. Sorry, last night.
temperatures. 11 nice nights. That's just nuts, man.
We get back up to 29 next week, but then we just start dropping. So we're going down.
Let me find this for you. So this is the forecast for Canning Vale. Yesterday was 34. Today is supposed to be 37. Tomorrow 39. Friday 42. Saturday 43. Sunday 42. Monday 37.
Yeah, I wouldn't survive. I'd shrivel.
Last night apparently it was 15 degrees.
That's
Then
cool.
And then 20 is basically the minimum for the rest of the week.
Yeah, no.
But I've been talking about this a lot. I actually had a guy on yesterday who's a Englishman who's now living in New Zealand, but he's an agronomist, and he does basically what Joe Rogers does for warm season grasses. How Lawn Solutions will breed specific varieties. So he's doing that for ryegrass, creeping bent, all that sort of stuff. Incredibly knowledgeable guy. I love that conversation. I had to cut it short because well, it wasn't short. It was 2 hours, but we could have kept going, and I had to end it because of the commitments I had. But I was asking him, I was like, do you think it's ever possible to get ryegrass to respond and be as drought tolerant as cooch? And he was like, I don't think so. And I was like, damn, because that would be epic.
It'd be it'd be intense.
We talked about like genetic modification, all that sort of stuff. What would you mix if you had the ability to mix varieties? What characteristics would you be mixing in?
Oh, cooch and rye, like you're saying, ryegrass for the color and how it stripes up, and just the feeling underfoot. But then cooch, obviously, for its drought tolerance and how quickly and aggressively it just fills in. Like that's honestly what I'd mix those two grasses. Easy pick.
What do you wish more people knew about lawns and lawn care?
It's a deep one. What do I wish they knew more? It's pretty easy. Mow your lawn twice a week. People get so stuck up on putting the right fertilizer out and like how much you got to water it, blah, blah, blah. But mow your lawn. It's going to start getting rid of the weeds because you're mowing it regularly. It's going to choke them out. And if you water properly at least 1 to 2 times a week, and they're deep waters for about half an hour to 45 minutes, mate, you're set. And then you can just add on to it with fertilizers to get it looking pristine and to the next level. But yeah, it's not as confusing as people think it is. I mean, obviously you've got soil problems, then you got to dive a little bit deeper. But for just the general homeowner, just mow your grass. And that's what I wish people would understand. Because still, people will send me photos of things. I'm like, how often are you mowing, mate?
Yeah.
Oh, once every couple of weeks, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Which, I mean, it's a time thing, but it's, if you really want to get into it, like just regularly doing stuff, it makes a huge difference.
What are your thoughts on all these robot mowers then? Because obviously they're cutting every day. We talked about it a little bit before, but you've had the Husqvarna, but now you've had a couple more, right?
Yep. So I got the Still and that Momotion one as well, the Luba. Man, I can't fault them. They're good. They're awesome. I
Is there
mean,
any difference between them?
the Luba does GPS, like for the boundaries. So you don't have to put a wire in the ground. And it's probably a little bit better going up hills because it's got really good tyres. But I mean, cut quality wise, they're all very similar. Very, very similar. And yeah, I mean, I think the Still and the Husqvarna are a bit cheaper anyway, as it is compared to the Luba. So there's not a huge difference in all of them. I mean, GPS is handy because I can map out parts across the property instead of running wires everywhere, and you have to run. You can just make it drive over driveways and all that jazz instead of digging into your concrete. But yeah, I think they're awesome. And if you didn't have the time to be out there mowing, but you still want that nice lawn, like robot mowers all the way, especially with the way society's going and seem to be getting busier and busier, and everything seems to be costing more.
Yeah. What's the plan for the rough around the
It is going to be probably a blend of cool season grasses, so fescues, but they're going to grow quite tall. So they'll get that nice brown stalky seed head. So more of like that lynx style look. It's not going to be like maintained really. It's just going to look nice.
Well, I was just thinking about like matching up the conversation at the beginning where you were talking about there's a lot of work that goes into it. Like how much can you get robots to do that you would be satisfied with? Because you could technically get robots to do the fairway, to the tees, but would you be satisfied with that? It would look good. No, you're shaking your head. So where do you think you could use robots at your property?
Well, in the rough areas, that's what I use it for. I mean, because they only cut down to 30 mil, I mean, you can get spaces in them to drop them, but you start modifying it and you're avoiding warranties. But like, it's just that they don't mow short enough for what I like. They need to be mowing shorter to get that fine turf. Obviously, because I've come from a greenkeeping background and working on a golf course, I love anything sub 10 mil. And like, you can't have a fairway sitting at 30 mil. Like, hit a golf ball, you're hitting it out of the rough.
Yes,
the mower's not going to do that for you. So. Yeah,
although
I enjoy the process anyway of mowing and like getting things short and being particular and fiddling around with it. Whereas the mower, that just does the stuff that I don't like the look of, basically, which sounds bad, but it's mowing the rough areas that I hate mowing by hand or I hate sitting on the ride-on doing because it frustrates me. The dust flies in my face and sticks and stones everywhere.
Yeah, because obviously you have that satisfaction because if you didn't, one, you wouldn't be in the job. You wouldn't have started a YouTube channel. And two, no one would watch your stuff because, if you obviously enjoy it. I was just going to say though before, like, to be fair, with the fairway you currently have now, if anyone's landing their ball on the fairway,
you suck.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would. I would. I haven't hit a golf ball in over a year.
I mean, I'm not that
You've also got a hole in one. Yeah, you got a hole in one. So there you go. I've got, how many hits did it take to get that though?
Well, what happened was we hit a few shots, walked down, picked up our balls, went back up the top. First shot went in. So technically, but I wouldn't count it, but as an actual hole in one, like proper. But we'd reset and gone back up, and it was my first shot back in. But yeah. But it would have been all up. It was probably 6 shots for the day. So it was a 6th shot.
How often are you actually using that green? Like, because
that's probably the last time I hit a golf ball into it when I hit a hole in one.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you would think it's like you make a golf green to make it yourself better at golf, and then you spend all the time cutting the grass.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm a bloke that gets into hobbies hard. Like I go all in on a hobby. Like I go nuts. I'll research it like crazy. I'll spend hours and hours and hours. When I was into golf, like I would go 3 or 4 days a week and just play golf. And then I'd go home and hit golf balls into the net for 4 hours. You know what I mean? Like that's what I get like when I get into stuff. I just go ridiculously ridiculous. So I'm not into golf at the moment. So I'm not practicing. So I'll be back into it soon. That's what'll happen. It'll rotate again. And I'll go back into it. Like at the moment, I'm like playing guitar a stupid amount. Like, yeah. So that's like, I just rotate between things.
What's the best score you ever had on 18 holes?
On 18 holes? I I think it was 4 over, but it wasn't from
That's
the
good.
back. It was from like the middle tees. Yeah, and it was by myself, so it doesn't count. You can't count it.
Did I send you that Cat Williams video playing from the front tees?
I think you did. Yeah.
Comedian. He's like, I just find it so egotistical. I don't see any benefit in it. You don't get any more score from shooting from the back.
It's so good. What a legend.
I know. It's like, you know what? Like, he's got a really good point there.
Yeah, he does. Seriously, why would you worry about it? Might as well enjoy it and feel like you're playing well.
Especially someone like me. If I was to play golf with you, right, and not that you've been practicing lately, but I haven't played in years, and I am sporty. Like, I love sport. I really do love sport. So I've got enough hand-eye coordination that I can do something.
Yep.
And sometimes I can't drop my ego enough to be like, you know, if I'm out playing golf with some mates and they actually play and they're all playing off the back, you can't play off the front, but you probably should because you don't play golf.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? You can't, and you can't hit it straight. And every time you try and hit it far, it's really not straight. So, take your medicine and play from the front. But then again, I'm a real man. I wouldn't ever accept failure like that. Bruh. Yeah. Questioning my masculinity.
Compensating.
So tell me about guitar then.
Yep. What about it? You missed my joke.
Well, compensating. Yeah. It's a delay. It's a delay in the in the video call. Yep. No, exactly. If you don't have a big ding, you've got to do a big swing. That's what I've been saying my whole life.
So good.
That's probably why you don't. Okay, let's move on. I will say it actually. That's probably why you don't play golf anymore. It's all those drugs you got from the.
It is actually. Yeah, you got me. You weren't supposed to bring that up. What's something between us?
Marriage is going super well at the moment. Anyways,
Robin.
Back with the guitar because I put a post on WA Lawn Addicts and I was checking it while we were having technical difficulties, and I put it on your members page as well. Has anybody in your members page actually commented? Doesn't look like it, but I did say I was like, people
probably not.
Yeah, not very active. Your members suck.
That's because of me because I'm not active in it. So it's actually me that suck. Yeah.
No, I'm a member, so that was a self shot for all the members who were like, "Hey, what's with the insult?" 18 comments, but one of the persons who commented on this said, "Does he actually play his guitar?"
I do. I play my guitar a lot. How many hours would I play a week? I haven't played much in the last 2 weeks, but before that, I was probably doing 3 or 4 hours a day. Like late at night, after the kids went to bed. Yeah, I was staying up to 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning playing guitar. Yeah.
Gee. See, you do like late night work.
I do, but I like late night hobbies.
Right. My work is my hobby, so.
Yeah. No. I mean, I used to edit late at night. That's where I used to get a lot of work done, all my emails and my admin and everything. But now that it's my full-time job, I sort of leave that for the day.
Yep.
Otherwise, I just don't disconnect, and I don't think about the kids or my wife. You know what I mean? Which can become problematic.
No, yeah, and then the marriage goes downhill. Doesn't matter what drugs you get off the black market, you know.
Exactly.
So 3 hours a day on guitar. We've played guitar together, and you are actually good at guitar, and you were good at guitar before this. Well, before this 3 hours of practice you were doing. So, is there a goal there, or is it just you're having the time of your life?
I'm learning Cliffs of Dover at the moment. If you've heard that song, by Eric Johnson, it's just super fast. It's just all alternate picking. And it's just like uber quick, like guitar playing. So it's basically shredding, but it's it's more melodic shredding. It's not like metal
Yeah.
shred, if that makes sense. So there's a lot of like chord inversions involved with it as well, and a lot of like, yeah, it just sounds a bit more easily listening than just shred that sounds like mess. So it's a bit more interesting. So it's like diving into theory a bit and learning all my modes and the reasons why you can swap out chords with relative minors and all that sort of like with relative major to minor keys, all that sort of jazz. Like I love theory, so I love delving into all that kind of stuff. And it's the practice isn't only like practicing, but it's also learning the theory behind it. So yeah.
And then you get to Sunday morning and you just do G, C, D, and E minor.
Exactly.
Playing at church.
Or the diatonic key.
Yeah. Maybe you might have a B minor seventh in there somewhere.
Well, you might swap out a 4 major for a 4 minor every now and then, but that's about it.
That's too
nothing
saucy for church, mate. What are you doing?
Oh, mate.
Get excommunicated with anything like that.
It's the devil's chord.
I always, the song Hallelujah.
The one that's on Shrek. You're talking about that stuff.
There was a chord that David played. Oh, I'm getting the wrong word, but yeah, David played it. Please the Lord.
Would you just say I'm getting the wrong word? Yes, you are.
I do wonder sometimes, like I've committed to a podcast and I release sometimes multiple hour episodes multiple times a week. I'm not my England is horrible. You know,
England. That's great.
But
bro.
What do you reckon
with that song?
Because he says there was a chord,
the fourth or fifth.
But I was like, what chord do you reckon is the chord that pleased the Lord that David played in this, imaginary song lyric?
No, I can't remember what he how the lyrics go now. To think of, it doesn't say what it is, does it?
No. The chord, I'm googling it, that David played
to please the Lord.
Please the Lord. Again, Mr. Beast would not be happy with our lyrics. I've just gone down a rabbit hole of all these articles and YouTube videos where everyone's debating this exact question.
Theories. Yeah, yep.
What is the chord? Now, I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? And it says it goes like the fourth or fifth, the minor falls, the major lifts, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Well, that's multiple chords. The fourth, the fifth, the minor, the major. Okay. What's the chord that David pleased? Surely you know, of all things, Playing guitar 3 hours a day.
Probably some sort of jazz inversion with a ninth in it. Can't go wrong with a ninth.
D over F.
Yuck. Should I play that for you? Hear what it sounds like? It wouldn't sound great.
No, D minor over F would work. Or F over D minor would work. The D major over F. Come on, you got a guitar behind you. Do you have an acoustic? Give us a strum.
It's not in the room. It's out of the room.
Give us a strum of D over F if you can, and then all the non-musical people will understand. I don't even know how to play that.
That's D over F.
Nothing came through.
Really?
Beautiful.
Didn't they come through?
They came through that time. I was on a nice flash blue electric. That cost you $3.50, and they
$7.50.
Okay, $7.50. Yeah. No, they're expensive. Okay, here's a good question for you. What's the most expensive hobby? But not hobby, but you've got guitars, expensive guitars. You've got expensive mowers. Have you spent more money on a guitar or more money on a mower?
Guitar, easily.
Oh wow.
Yep. Mate, you got to remember I get free mowers.
True. That's true. But your Greensmaster you bought.
Yeah, that was $2,000.
Yeah, and guitars, come on, man. $2,000 is nothing.
Well, sometimes I don't go and buy vintage stuff which costs you 20 grand, but you can pay a lot of money for guitars.
You can, yeah.
And they're getting worse.
I remember you liked my guitar, and I was like, yeah, I think it's like a good bang, like in the middle of the range, very good value for money. It's $2.5 grand, by the way, people. So like when you're talking serious hobbyists, and you're like, yeah, and then yours had broken, you needed a new one, and then you just went and big noted me and went up for me. And you spent like $1 billion on
I didn't know.
several models up on the exact thing that I had, and you were like, "Stuff you, Luke. Here you go."
That's the acoustic I've looked at since
who's a boss.
Since I looked at buying acoustic guitars, and that's what I would have got 10 years ago when I bought the acoustic guitar I've got now. So it's been like a dream for years and years and years, and it still hasn't turned up, believe it or not. But yeah,
what? You haven't got it yet?
No. So they're out of stock. It's a Martin 00028, by the way, if anyone's wondering. But it has been out of stock.
So you buy this guitar, lots of money, which has some technical difficulties, by the way, people. But anyways, we're back. You buy this guitar with lots of money, and then it doesn't come. Is that like a few things? One, is that very frustrating for you? And two, don't you think the business shouldn't take your money if they're not going to deliver it to you for ages? Do you know what I mean?
They didn't have to. They said I could put a deposit on it and just wait.
Oh, but, cool. That's good.
Yeah, so it's not dodgy. They're just out of stock in Australia. I think because Martin has had a stock shortage for a while, so I'm not exactly sure why, but yeah. No, it's supposed to be here next week or the week after. Finally. Oh, I ordered it in August last year.
Oh. Yeah. Gee. So this week or the week after?
Like yeah, that's what I've been told. So it's landed in Australia on the container. So they've just got to install a pickup in it, which is the same pickup you've got.
Look, there you go. You just see, you stole all my ideas.
I did, man.
You
just want to be like you.
Just better though. You probably have a better pickup too, and not just because you were trying to upsize me, but that mine's 6 years old now.
Don't.
Mine's 6 years old, so I mean they're good. So LR bags, dual style pickup. They're good.
Is it the Anthem you've got?
No, I had the mini one, which I regret. I think I should have got the bigger one.
Right.
Because they're the same microphones, but you get more adjustability with what you've got, I believe.
Okay. There you go.
More
some reason they're exactly the same.
They would be. So basically they had a small one which is really discreet. And I was like, discreet is good. But then I was like, the other one's discreet anyway. It's like, it's all hidden.
You can hardly even see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all on the inside.
So yes, Trevor Cook, who asked that question, he does actually play the guitar. Anthony Hans asked, growing up, who won the most fights between you and your twin brother, Josh?
Who won the most fights? We didn't.
Neither of you seem violent. No,
they never fought. Not one. Not even like a wrestle.
Yeah, some kids, definitely not my son. You know, when they don't get their way and they just walk up and whack their sister on the head.
Maybe when I was a kid, but I like younger, but I can't.
One and a half. No, well, that's good because we talked about it before, and the competitive nature doesn't seem to be there between you. That can sometimes be between twins. You know.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Do you want me to expand on that? I haven't got much to say about that. There's not a competitive nature. No.
No. Well, there's like I know you really love cricket, and so you'll know all about this.
Yes,
even Mark Wall are twins, and they both played for Australia.
I know.
And well, Steve Wall was the captain for Australia, and he was a slightly better batsman. Actually, probably quite a bit better batsman in certain scenarios.
Mm.
And Mark was a better all-round player in terms of fielding and bowling and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you can never kind of move away from that comparison when you're in the public eye. But we can move away from it in this conversation. What is your shoe size? Asking for a mate.
15. No, 9. You know?
No.
Pretty
Yeah,
standard.
there you go. 16. So I was joking about the shoe size, but nah, seriously, I would like to know what his all-time favorite thing to eat is, and also can you see if he'll follow my Instagram?
What's his Instagram?
SBS
How much money you paying
Lawns.
me? I'm kidding.
Exactly.
What is it?
Yeah. SBS
Okay.
Lawns, short back and
SBS.
side. Yeah.
SBS, the TV station.
SBS. I actually might not get it right. So, yeah, SBS Lawns, one thing on Instagram.
Boom, followed him.
There you go.
What is my favorite meal? Probably that is spicy, really, really hot and spicy. Something like Indian. I do love a korma, but that is really, really hot though. So some sort of curry.
I'm going to give up on this video thing because people have been having technical issues and Ben is frozen right now. But I can hear you. Oh, you're back.
Fixed it.
Did you? Well, Mark,
let's
can
see.
you... sorry, Mark. Joseph, can you please edit out the all the problems in that bit? We'll come back in. I want to ask this next question. So next question is, does he enjoy bush chooks?
Is that an inside joke?
No, that's
What is?
That's it's a beer. It's the bloody Emu Bitter. It had the logo in my head. Emu Bitter.
Oh, no, I've never tried it.
There you go. You're not much of a drinker, though, are you?
I don't mind a bit of whiskey and a bit of beer every now and then, but I don't have a lot.
You're not the sort of
wine.
person who posts a photo of the beer in your own stubby holder on the lawn.
No. It's just not. Yeah, but I do enjoy it. Like a beer after a mow, 100%. But yeah, it's not the be all end all.
I was actually thinking I've got a live podcast in here. First one I've done in here this afternoon, and
Nice.
I've got my MoMaster stubby holder here, and I was like, do you remember when I was over? And I was like, do you have a stubby holder? Because I like stubby holders for my Pepsi Max. And you're like, yeah, I'll get you one. I still haven't got one. What's going on?
Oh, mate, I love promising things and then not following through. That's just me.
That's what Emma told me as well.
Yeah. Why'd you do that? It's a bit weird.
I don't. Yeah, that's true. When you really analyze that joke, it is actually very weird. Why am I asking your wife about whether or not? Okay, moving on.
You got red.
I mean, this might be the saturation in my camera, you know.
Oh yeah. Yep, technically.
Next
Good
question:
stuff.
staying on the drinks, Pepsi Max or Coke?
Pepsi.
Yes. See, Coke beats Pepsi for me, but Pepsi Max just craps all over.
No, Pepsi Max. I mean Pepsi Max. Sorry.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Pepsi Max every day.
I've just gotten a message from SBS Lawns with a screenshot. Ben Sims started following you. He's gone, ha 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 ha, yes.
I'll unfollow him tonight. No.
Can you send a message saying something like, hey, bro, I followed you because Luke said, but man, you need to up your game. Or something like that.
I'm not that sort of bloke.
I wonder how many followers he's going to get from just us talking about him. Anyways, next question. What is his golf handicap? Does he still have an excuse for missing par threes on the course?
I do because I don't play golf on my own green. My golf handicap, I'm pretty sure it's a 13.
Oh, I don't know if he was talking
Was-
about handicap, man, like golf. He might have just been talking about general handicap,
Oh,
autism.
yeah, I've got.
Nah, he did say golf handicap.
Can't tell you about that. It's secret, man. Take a bit of medication, but no. Can't tell you. Don't want to offend anyone.
Same site you're getting other stuff off on the black market,
Exactly.
the dark web.
Yep.
The next question is from a lady, Christine Woods, who you probably don't know about, but she's been active on WA Lawn Addicts, whinging about her lawn. She calls it a Hank. She said, "Can you please tell Hank to stop being an asshole?" I don't know how that's going to fix anything, but I thought I'd pass that on. Important messages,
Cool. Sweet. It's beautiful.
What's his favorite topping on pizza?
Favorite topping on pizza? Probably something with some jalapenos and salami. Olives, something along those lines.
Jalapeno, salami, olives. So you're going real hot there. Olives are normal, but what kind of salami? Hot salami or just the mild Hungarian?
I go mild when there's some decent hot jalapenos.
Do you cook your own pizzas or like is it okay? Obviously, you cook your own pizzas, but I know you guys do pizza night with the family. Do you go and cook like, no, this is Dad's pizza, kids don't touch? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Because the kids wouldn't want to have. I mean, if they wanted it, they can have some, but they would hate the spice. To be like, whoa,
Yeah,
spicy. They would absolutely hate it.
It's a great tactic, though, isn't it? You get your kids off your food. Just enjoy spicy food.
You can't have my pizza because it's just way too friggin' hot.
Carrie buys mint ice cream, mint choc ice cream, because she knows I don't like it, and mint chocolate.
Smart.
I know. It's like, I'm not going to steal it. So, but she likes
Actually,
everything.
Emma did that with mint. I don't like mint chocolate, so
women are smart women. Next question is, what's his net worth?
$10. I don't know. I have no idea. What is that? Like, as in, what even is net worth? Like,
you'd have to take all your assets
included in everything, isn't it?
And then all the cash you have in the bank, which is probably $10 because you get your spending on the guitars. Obviously, we're not going to answer the question, but it's not.
Honestly, it's not really that much.
It's better than what you would be doing if you were just doing golf coursing, but it's nowhere near what other YouTubers
not
are
much
doing.
more. Yeah, exactly.
No,
it'd be like someone working in the mines. Do you know what I mean? That's what I compare it to.
Yeah, or like a successful small business owner, which is basically what you are.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. It's not. I'm not breaking the records, but yeah.
I guess that was a good answer for dodging the answer. What's his favorite thing to do in his spare time that isn't lawn or putting on the green? Which we basically answered. It's guitar and shoving chilies down.
Guitar. I like gaming a bit. I like retro gaming and like playing online and stuff. So I do a bit of that as well.
Yeah. Do you remember when I beat you at FIFA? Just
I don't remember that.
Do you remember that I hadn't played in ages and I came to your house?
Yeah, but you're like a FIFA nerd, bro.
I did actually play so much as a kid.
Yeah. If I was my little brother, I would have beat you, but I'm not a FIFA man.
If I was the world champion FIFA player, I would have beat you.
Yeah, I would have beat you. Just a stupid thing to say.
Did you ever with FIFA? Did I do this with you where we turned all the settings on max?
No. So.
Okay. Next time you're playing with your kids, right? Go into. I don't even know how to do this because I haven't had an Xbox since I got married, which is like 8.5 years ago.
You get a sex box instead.
It's what everyone gets when they get married, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Although, anyways, I was listening to a podcast on. It was just a clip from a podcast that came up from. I think it was a Diary of a CEO. Do you ever watch that one? That podcast, great podcast, very informational. And I think he had a relationship expert on, and they talked about sex life very briefly. How some people go years without sex. And I thought the only person I know who would relate to that is Ben. So what's it like?
Well, mate, you start to learn a lot more about yourself. You just become really just focused, and the mental clarity.
I don't know if I would have mental clarity. Do you know what I mean? I think I'd be
you
very
definitely wouldn't.
distracted.
Mm.
Oh man. Anyway, so back to FIFA. If you go play FIFA, or EA, whatever they call it now, because they've changed the branding on it. But if you go play the game next time, go do this afternoon with the kids because they'll love it. Change all the player settings so that they're max speed, max strength, max power kick, everything. Because you can adjust that if you wanted to. And it's a different game. It's a silly game. It's like you can shoot from your own, goal box and have a chance of actually going in. And they're so fast and they're so strong. And it's just like, going from playing Forza or Gran Turismo to playing Mario Kart. It's the same kind of thing, but it's comical and there's just a fun element to it. And there's so much more luck involved. And so that's my life tip for everybody. Used to do that a lot. That was good fun. Does he ever get over enthusiastic views? Does he ever get over enthusiastic viewers turning up to have a chat? That's a good question.
At home?
Yeah.
I've had.
Yeah, you go. Sorry.
Not really. To be honest, not really, man. I've had people take photos of the property and send them through, but no one comes in the gate at all. So I haven't had that. I've had a few people stay in the Airbnb. I've had a couple of people, but they're not over the top in my face. Like to have a conversation, we'll chat, have maybe a drink. But that's honestly about it.
Because I thought
pretty relaxed.
I was worried for you when we did that. Because we were the second or third or fourth people to stay in there. You hadn't opened up that place.
Yeah, I think you might have been. You might have been the first because it wasn't ready still when you were in there.
It was pretty ready. It was nice.
Yeah, we've done a bit more stuff to it. Fixed it up a bit. But yeah, I think you would have been before it was ready.
Yeah, actually, no, I think there was certain... Actually, now I remember because Emma was asking Carrie for feedback because there were certain things that people hadn't, I don't know if it was the bed or whatever, something like that. No one else has stayed there properly in that layout. Yeah. But I was like, man, I'd be nervous about weirdos, stalkers. But I guess you're not Taylor Swift, are you? So
no, exactly, man. I'm talking about grass and who's going to stalk a bloke that talks about grass and want to... Exactly. You know what I mean? It's... Yeah. And if you're into your lawn, you normally... you probably get some weirdos. It's just... Everyone's a bit weird in their own way.
Exactly.
But no, there's been nothing like that at all. Not even in emails or anything. There's never any weird, crazy people. Yeah. At all.
The other thing
apart from the bloke that asked for some feed pics.
Just somebody asked for feed pics.
Yes.
What? That's got to be a joke, though.
Oh, no, it was some weird messages, man, and I blocked them. It was weird.
Oh,
it was very weird.
Gee.
Anyway,
that's okay. That is strange. Well, I was thinking that if anything dangerous happened, you have a perfect body double already.
It's true. Just throw Josh under the bus.
Exactly. You've got a. If you've listened this far, you probably already know, but you have a identical twin brother. Again, we've had Josh on the podcast, so there you go. What else is going on? A few questions or comments about people saying there should be a live unedited version. Well, these are unedited. I don't think I've had any other comment. Lots of comments, but no other specific questions. How is Josh going? He changed jobs though recently.
Yeah, going good. I think he's enjoying it.
Good.
Working for Ecoscapes, which is he's been loving it.
Do they ever get
he missed the physical work?
Right, because he was selling products for Greenway Turf Solutions, and I don't know if it just wasn't the gig for him.
Yeah, I think he just missed the being on the tools.
There's a great satisfaction to doing something with your hands and being able to turn around and go, look at that. You know?
Yeah.
You thought it was a joke and I was serious about it. Like you mow a lawn and stripes up nice and you're like, that's, I'm satisfied.
Sorry, no, I got exactly what you were saying. My mind just went somewhere else. Just sorry, I know it's been a long time. Like as in the podcast.
Many years. many years. I haven't been satisfied.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we said before, didn't we?
I thought you said I had clarity of mind. I was the one who was saying I was being distracted.
Mate, I'm just trying to. Yep. Anyway, we'll stop there.
We will. No, I reckon he will enjoy it, and it looks like the business that he works with does good stuff too. Like,
yeah, they're good. They're good guys. They've helped me hydroseed a few things in the past too, so they're good guys.
Well, actually, John, that's a good point. Completely change the subject because I've got to oversow. There's these internal parts at the private school we work at. It's about 700 squares, and I've got to oversow with rye. And we've done that before, but the problem is that you get like a 4-week period that you really got to. Well, this is my understanding. Tell me where I'm going wrong. I've got a 4-week period. I do my oversowing, do a light top dress, give it love and attention. Probably do a second, 2 weeks in to fill in some bare patches that might not have worked. And then after 4 weeks, we can let some kids back on. And it is heavy traffic. This is why, because in winter, there's just no chance. There's no chance of it surviving if it's not a cool season grass actively growing at the time. Yep. So then I was like, I've never hydro seeded. I don't have the stuff for it. I wouldn't feel confident in charging for something I hadn't done like that before. But you had great success with the germination rate with your bent when you did it that way. So do you think I should hire a business that specializes in that and hydro seed the area? Do you think that would be beneficial for the school kids?
I think you'd get a head start on it. So you could pre-germinate, you're talking about. So not hydroseeding, you're talking about pre-germinating.
Okay. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. What you do.
Hydroseeding's when they mix the mulch. Hydroseeding's when they mix the mulch with it.
Right.
And you can put it on hills and stuff. You normally see it with councils do it quite often.
Right.
Whereas what I did, I just mixed it myself in wetting agent. All it is putting with wetting agent, fungicide, and a bit of fertilizer. You can do that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just spread it out. But you leave it in the bucket for like 3 or 4 days. And as soon as you start to see any sign of sprouting, you spread it.
Could I use my big BA pumps sprayer to spray it out, or is it too thick? Because I've got a hose nozzle.
Too thick. Yeah, you'd have to get the filters off it.
Maybe I ask them.
Surely there'd be a way, and you just change the nozzle type and take the filters out. I mean, it would make a mess of your sprayer. Let's be honest.
I do have a spare 12-volt pump, but it's incredibly slow. 5 liters a minute.
Yeah, 5 liters.
So
that'd be fine. I reckon. Oh, that's pretty slow. 5 liters.
A normal hose is like 20 plus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
What did you use?
The firefighting pump. So we had to put the revs nice and low on it, so that it didn't spit out a ton of like seed and everything mixed in there. But yeah, just a firefighting pump, which you can get one for. I mean, you get them pretty inexpensive at Bunnings. Like they've got some quite cheap ones there, which would do the job pretty well.
It really has been a long time, hasn't it?
Just gonna keep going with that joke.
Do you know what? I reckon we're inviting more people to send you weird stuff inadvertently. People are going to take it seriously.
Yes.
This guy is
needs some help.
Starved.
Hey, just send me whatever you want.
Oh man, firefighting pump. True. So I go get cheapo from good old Bunnings.
And just use a
Oh,
wheelie
good.
bin or like any sort of bin and put your seed in there and fill it up with water. What are you laughing at?
Moving on.
I'm getting sidetracked.
Some people,
You're the one that's
some people
staying
hate
away.
it.
You're the one that's away at the moment.
That's it. Anyways, the this is going off the rails, which is fine. So you put your seed in a bucket.
Just change the topic.
I don't have anything else to ask you though. You know, like this is a central practical point. Put it in a bucket, and then fertilizer. No, fungicide. You said wedding agent
And a bit of fertilizer.
And, yeah, and then just blast it out.
It's a good old quick spray it out.
I'm not going to be able to do it normally. I'm not going to be able to do it without thinking about it now. Oh, man. I've laughed that hard in a podcast. I'm trying to keep it together.
Yeah, you don't want to get us two in a room together.
No.
It's a bit bad.
I definitely should not do that at a private school, private primary school kids. I think I'm just going to use my fertilizer spreader. I'll lose the contract. That's like my livelihood, mate.
I'd be impressed.
Anyways.
If you had that much pressure.
Yeah, 5 liters a minute, mate, doesn't touch what the fire hose can do.
5 liters a minute.
Oh, dear. Well, that's an option. So the pre-germinating, on a serious note, how long do you think it will save me with ryegrass? Because ryegrass is still pretty quick, right?
You'd save yourself maybe 5 days. So you almost get a week.
Yeah, and that's enough. That's enough because I don't want to, like, once it's down and once the kids are on, there's no going back. You know what I mean? Because if they destroy spots straight away and then I have to oversow those spots again, I've got to wait another month. And I'm going to do it with the school holidays. So I'm going to try and do, like, say 2 weeks before the end of the holidays and then 2 weeks during the holidays for it to really strengthen up. And then, bam, we're in. So
I think you would struggle to do a pre-germinate anyway because you're gonna have to walk over the whole area. You need a pretty long hose.
Yeah. Okay, I've moved on from the silliness. I'm actually thinking practically about this now. So you recently were using a mini prill fertilizer, and you're talking about getting that in the shop. Is that something that's going to be pretty quick? Because a lot of people really want that, whether or not they need it or not. It's kind of like, because a lot of people aren't cutting below 10, and you don't really necessarily need mini prill in those scenarios. Yeah. But it's still kind of, if you're a real hobbyist, you know, you like that kind of stuff. Is that coming up soon? Yep. So going to be available soon?
I could stock it tomorrow if people want it. It just depends on if people want it.
In small bags? Big bags?
It'd be 20 kilo bags. Yeah, it wouldn't be any smaller bags than that.
Yeah. Good stuff. What are you wishing people bought more of? Not from a 90s perspective, but just like, I think I asked this last time, but I asked you about underrated products. But like specifically on your website, you're like, damn, people they're buying a lot of this, but they really should be buying this, you know, or they should be adding that to the cart as well.
I honestly think it's pretty balanced, man. I've got a good balance of what people purchase. Seriously, there's not really anything. Like maybe during the growing season, people utilizing wetting agent a bit more through the summer, just to help save themselves on water and stop that hydrophobic soil. But man, like seriously, everyone's pretty good with liquids and the granulars and all that sort of stuff. So there's nothing really that people should be buying more.
I'm checking to see if there's any more comments. What else is going on? So you're playing guitar at church on the weekends. You're stepping back from putting too much expectation on yourself with YouTube so you don't burn out. What else is happening? What's happening in the personal life of Ben?
What's happening in the personal
Don't start
life of
that
Ben?
joke again. Let's.
No. We won't go there. We'll be safe. It'll be G-rated.
Well, have you planted my
what, man?
azalea yet?
Haven't got one yet.
Didn't you get one?
No. What do you mean?
What did you get? What did Carrie send you at Christmas time from me?
She said, when you know what one you want, we'll organise it.
Ah, I told her just to get one.
Oh, I don't think I'm ready to plant anyway. It'll be staying in a pot too.
Because you want.
So I'm gonna get. That's what I'm gonna do in the next little bit is start spraying all that stuff out. Once there's no wind outside, I've been waiting for a non-windy day. It's been so windy here. But yeah.
Well, I sent Carrie was sending some presents, and I was like, we need to get Ben an azalea because you want the back of your green to look like, was it the 17th at Augusta, or it was one of the ones at Augusta.
I think it was the 16th.
One of those ones. I'm not massive golfy, so I don't quite know, but yeah. There you go. I just want it was actually a manipulation tactic because I wanted you to make an entire video about planting it and then just talk about me the whole time.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got,
yeah.
you know. That's why I haven't organised anything.
The other thing you could do on the flip side of it is you could plant them all together, right? And then just be like every time you hit the ball a little bit far and it's near any of your azaleas, you're like really gentle. Don't want to swing too hard. Anytime it's near mine, hack the crap out of it.
Yeah.
7-8 warm-up shots, destroy the ball. I come over again, it's like absolutely raggled. It's like, that's what I really think of you, Luke.
Or what I'll do is you'll send it to me and I'll leave it out in the sun and won't water it. And then when it comes time to planting, check out this thing that Luke sent me.
Look at this tight ass. Couldn't even get me a proper plant.
What is wrong with this bloke? I thought he liked gardens.
The other thing I could do is I could send you something and then change the label on it. So be like, this is a little shrub, right? And then it just keeps growing. And I'm just, you just trusted me that I've just sent you something normal, and it's like a
all these suckers start coming up in the green.
Yeah, come on, give me good ideas. That's what I should do.
No, that's why the root barrier is there, mate. It'll never happen.
Mate, I'm gonna find something that is root barrier proof.
Be aggressive.
Yeah, it'd be like
good old root barrier. I've got something that's root barrier proof. Sorry,
man. Then we'll have to get Donald Trump over because like the root barrier is not enough. We need a wall. We need a harder, more something that's not easy to penetrate. You know what I mean? You know all of that.
Yeah. I do. Yep.
We ruined this podcast. Only people that are left people who have a 3-year-old sense of humor, and that includes us.
Oh dear. Hopefully someone relates.
Look, I've had enough fun here as well. We can wrap this up. I mean, we've been recording for 1 hour and 40 with some technical difficulties, so that'll be cut down. And it's probably about 3 minutes of good content, I think.
Maybe 2.5, I reckon, to be honest.
To be fair, like that's probably a TV rate of content, I reckon.
It's true.
How much time it's been recording to how much is really good and actually makes the final cut. So this might just be a 3-minute long podcast at the end.
Might be your best yet.
Well, numbers wise, it could be, I reckon, because to be fair, the nerdy the podcast I did before this was 2 hours of just lawn nerd fest with a turf agronomist
I need to listen to that. That's what I would love that. I need to listen.
Right, but then it's just a nice switch up just to make sex jokes about seeding.
Is that what we're doing? Oh.
I'm just going. You're just laughing to be polite. I'm the only one who's got the joke.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh yeah.
Exactly. So look, mate. Let's wrap this up. How can you make money off this podcast? Where should people go?
Well, if Luke had decided to pay me at the start of this podcast,
Exactly.
that's how I could have made some money. But
Didn't even give you an assailant.
no, you can check out my YouTube channel. That's my main gig. Instagram, Facebook, my website, lawntips.net. That's about it.
I still haven't even sent you the pins.
What pins?
Did I tell you about this? I've got to move my camera. Hold a second. I made some pins for all the guests.
Oh, for your podcast?
Yeah.
How good is that? That's fancy.
And they're numbered on the back. Yeah, laser engraved. Yours is in here somewhere.
What number is it?
Number 1.
Because
you're episode number 1. So people's episode numbers on the back. So you'll get sent 2, and Josh will get sent 1. So you'll be number 1 and number 64 or whatever it is. This is number 2.
Whoa, that's a lot of podcasts, man.
I know.
Too bad I didn't get 69.
Yeah, I should have thought about that, especially with this. I bet you I'm going to have like some. There's a few people coming up. I reckon it'll be a real serious podcast. Just accidentally get scheduled for 69.
This is I'll be back. Bring me back.
Yeah. I think I've already got my next 5 podcasts scheduled, so we're going to have to.
Nah, make room, mate. I'm kidding.
Do you know what we should just do? Is we should just get Joseph to edit all the sex jokes out of this one and make that podcast 69.
It's a plan. Good marketing.
Don't do that, Joseph.
I mean, I don't know who you're marketing to, but
I know 1% of the audience. That's all we've got left still listening to this.
Exactly.
Retention on this is rubbish. This is the least retentive podcast I've ever done. But anyway,
you never know.
I do have pins. So talking about paying people to come on, I can't afford because I don't make money off this podcast.
Oh, it was a joke, man.
I know.
I don't want you to pay anyone.
Anyone. No one. Ever.
Never, ever. Even if you can afford it, don't.
Even if you make $1 million an episode. But no, I made these pins. They're actually quite expensive because they're custom and they're metal and they're stamped with the logo and your episode number at the end. And I have 100 of them. And I have not sent out a single one.
Mate, got to get on that.
There you go. Anyways, I got one on my hat.
They look good.
I do. Well, thanks. I thought that looks good. And it's the idea is they're a little discreet hat pin. You actually have to put it on your hat. You can store it in the drawer and never look at it again, which I think is what most people would do. But if you want to, you can put it on your hat. And then people are like, what's that? Especially for some of the people we've had on that, they're out working and all that sort of stuff. And especially if they're talking to a client or something, it's like, what's this? Well, believe it or not, I actually, I'm
famous. I've been on a podcast.
I've been on a podcast. Yeah, and for you, this is the most watched thing you're ever going to do. So, just remember it. All right, Ben.
All right, bro.
Get stuffed. And everybody else,
Gladly.
I'll see you in the next podcast.